Definitely, especially in a place that wanted to have racing there for a while, like Nashville. Like, this was something I read that was like a decade in development.
Yeah, Scott Burchett of Big Machine Vodka, Big Machine Records, was instrumental in getting us there. He worked on it for years to get us there. And then Ken Thwaites with Franklin Road Apparel, they came on as a sponsor of the event there at Nashville. So, there's a lot of local guys there in Nashville helping us out, but that was just huge for Trans Am to get to be there.
Yeah, definitely. That was unquestionably the most fun I've ever had as a race fanatic. Being able to interact with people like Roger Penske, which I did, by the way, and Al Unser Jr. and Robbie Gordon, and even the sports car drivers at Trans Am like Merrill and Elias Sabo and GT America. That was a big weekend.
Oh, there was a lot. There was like Joey Hamptons there at GA. Joey just won Le Mans for Ford and then GT Ford, for the 50th anniversary, and Boris said, and all these guys, you look around and guys, we're running with these guys, So it was quite a weekend for the drivers and the fans, I think. And everybody was pleasantly surprised. I'm sure, the first event there, I'm sure there'll be some tweaks to it, but guys, for a fan experience, it was awesome, I think,
Definitely. And I remember meeting Scott Burchetta as well when he was on his golf carts, but yeah. I didn't realize until someone told me afterwards that he was involved in Taylor Swift's career.
Yeah, he's the one that really promoted her, so he's got a big thing in Nashville, I guess. We know him from racing, but but he's really put a lot of heart and soul into the Trans Am series. Him and I raced each other in Vintage, and I think in 2019 we beat him by 4 points in the championship. So we go back a little ways. Hey, he's just a great guy, and he moved over to Trans Am a year before we did. And he's like, "Oh, you just gotta do it," because it's great, So that was, I can't believe how much he's put into Trans Am. I mean, he worked hard to get us at Nashville. And It was a super hit with the music, because the music venue, I mean, he was a promoter of the whole event overall. So he brought IndyCar to Nashville along with Trans Am, thankfully. And the music, I think a lot of the artists that played were on his label, Big Machine label. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really incredible that Roger Penske, Burchetta, and everybody in those series were able to pull off a big weekend. Like, that was probably one of the greatest achievements in the overall racing culture, I would say, probably.
I would say, and it looked to me like, from a participant, it felt like it worked pretty well. It was pretty seamless, especially for the first event, because, everybody's apprehensive in the event, like where we don't know the lay of the land. We know how it's going to work, and neither did they. So I think, there's a few tweaks here and there, but as far as the Trans Am event there, it was just an absolute blast.
Definitely. So, what was that weekend? How did it start out for you?
It started out a little apprehensive. We did a track walk because it was still, we staged north of town because, the traffic in Nashville is awful. So they escorted us in with the haulers, and then went about an hour or so to do a track walk over that. And we're like, oh, holy cow, look how narrow it is. It was all a little apprehensive. And Trans Am made the decision to start us off of the bridge, on the start of the race and off the restarts. And I think that was a huge compliment to how we raced. Because if they started us over on the start-finish line where they originally were going to, like Trans Am did, or IndyCar did rather, it was so narrow in there. And we're all saying we're going to give each other room, but that is never going to happen. So it gave us some room to get from the straightaway off the bridge down into the streets. And that was I give Trans Am a lot of credit for that. That was a smart move.
Yeah, it was definitely smart. And One thing I liked about the series is there wasn't wrecking for the win or bumping anyone just to gain a position. You know, I thought it was a clean race overall, that everybody performed.
That is a nice thing about Trans Am. It is pretty clean. Normally there's an accident or a wreck, you know, it's not intentional. There's not like I'm going to bump you and loosen you up to get you through there. I got to pass you clean. Because if I spin you, one of the rules, so if I turn you and make the pass, I have to give the position back. But if you're at the back, I have to get behind you. So I don't gain anything by turning you and make a position.
That's good on you guys for doing that, because those cars are fast and it's a risk.
They are fast. Yeah, they are really fast.
Yeah. So where'd you finish in the race that day?
I think we ended up like 24th or something. Ended up losing our brakes and hit the tire wall. I think we were 11th when the brakes got soft, and I'm thinking, well, there'd be a caution. There wasn't a caution early enough. I brushed the tire wall and right by the pit entrance, broke the front suspension off the car. So we'll go back next year. We fixed the brakes, I think, now, so we'll see.
Yeah. Would you have had anything for the race winner, Mike Skeen, if you didn't wreck, or do you think he was too slow?
I don't think so. Usually where we're at, we're usually like maybe, you know, a top 10 for us is a good finishing position with the guys we're racing with. Because we only run 6 or 7 events, and they're running 12 or 14. You know, it's hard to compete when the level of competition is really high.
Yeah, and that day he did look to be awful strong. Like, he led most of half of the race, I think a little over half of it. And I was thinking as the race was going on, it's going to be a miracle if someone can get by a car that strong.
Yeah, he's really strong. That Stevens Miller race team that he drives with, that's a strong team. You know, I think Matos had a little trouble in qualifying, but he was coming. You know, he would have given him a run for his money if the yellows would have fell right. I think Rafa and Adam Andretti and Thomas, he was up there. So they put on a pretty good race.
They definitely did. So who's your biggest racing hero if you had to pick one?
You know, I've been lucky. You know, if I lived in Indianapolis areas, you know, I've met a lot of more of theirs, but you know, I really like Scott Dixon. He's still racing. I mean, Maru and AJ and all those guys are awesome, you know, but current day, I would have to say Scott Dixon. That guy just quietly just rewriting the record books, you know.
I think it's a matter of time before he passes AJ Foyt for the number of IndyCar wins.
I think so. Maybe this season. You know, he's really good.
Yeah, and I know he'll probably likely win another Indianapolis 500, I'm sure, before his career ends, but we'll see.
I think he will as well. I think he definitely with the right team. You know, Ganassi always brings a good cars to track, and the staff they got there. But I tell you, that's another thing. IndyCar's really, holy cow, loaded with young talent right now.
Yeah, like Colton Herta, and yeah, he's going to be a star.
He is fast. So they got a few in there. It's going to be good, I think. So it'll be interesting to see. It's kind of changing the guard, you know.
Change of the guard. You go from like Al Unser, Mario, Michael to now Dixon and Takuma Sato, Dario Franchitti, all the way to Herta and Joseph Newgarden. Yeah,
Newgarden stuff. There's just so many of them. It's fast.
Definitely. So how did you hold up in the COVID times during the pandemic?
We weren't too bad. Of course, we cut our racing back a lot, you know, but auto repair in Indiana was still essential. So we stayed in business through that. A little slower than usual, but we did a lot of fleet work, so that kept us going.
What's fleet work exactly?
Yeah, pretty much heavy commercial trucks.
So you have
delivery trucks and stuff like that.
Okay, so you have a company similar to like Penske Trucking, similar? Or
Yeah, we do repair work and stuff like that. Yeah, maintenance and repair work on those.
what's it called?
Yeah, Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair.
The link to it, everybody, is right here.
There you are. Thank you.
No problem. The magic of editing, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's so that's what keeps us going. That's what pays the bills. Obviously, racing don't pay the bills.
Yeah. So how many races are you scheduled to run next year?
I do 8 weekends probably with Trans Am.
Pretty cool. Do you have any sponsors lined up?
And we've been working on a couple. I hope maybe they'll step up. We'll see. I think now Trans Am's it's easier, I think, to find a sponsor. I mean, it's always hard. But with the Trans Am series come along where you don't have to sell the series as hard. People are like, oh, I've seen that. And that was, big machine. They put it up, they televised the Trans Am race Saturday after Nashville on CBS Sports. And it looks like we're going to do a lot more with CBS Sports this year in Trans Am. Waiting to see if they announce what they announce with it, but I know there's some of that in the works, and that'll just help the series, help the sponsors.
Good to hear. What are the costs of sponsorship and building the cars like compared to NASCAR?
Yeah, compared to NASCAR, it's a lot cheaper. The TA2 cars, we probably, a good budget there is probably $250,000 or $3,000 a year. The Trans Am cars are probably pushing $1 million a year, I'm guessing, to run that. Depends on your season, how much luck you have, and sometimes you get involved in accidents or engine problems. It costs you more, but
yeah.
So it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby for sure.
Definitely, it sounds like it. Have you had any parts failures before? Or?
We have, we had engine failure at Road America this year. We use K-Tech engines. So there's in TA there's K-Tech and Quarry engines out of Florida that are spec engine builders. They're sealed engines, so you can send your engine to either one of those two companies and they'll do the engine. But we've been with K-Tech. Quarry does a great job, I think. K-Tech is about 5 hours from our shop in Detroit, so we use those guys, and they give exceptional service. And they're always at the track, so if you do have a problem, they're right there with you to help you get it going.
The link to that, everybody, is right here.
Thanks.
No problem. So, what are your hopes for the future?
Well, I hope we can win the Pro-Am championship this year in 2022. It looks like, depends how COTA falls, it looks like we're going to be second in the national Pro-Am points this year. So since our first year with them, I think that's pretty good. That was above what we expected. We hope that we could just come in and be, mid-pack competitive with them the first year. So I think next year, now we understand how it works a little bit, get a little better handle on the car. I think we got a shot at running for the Pro-Am championship next year.
That's pretty good. Is that also an SCCA or whatever?
Yeah, it's SCCA Pro.
Ah.
Yeah. So we can run. I'm not crossover into the SCCA, but you can do the runoffs, the national runoffs of SCCA as well.
Pretty cool. Is the Pro-Am or the series you're competing in, is it connected to Trans Am or no?
Yeah, it is Trans Am. It's Trans Am TA2.
Oh, that's what it's called. It's the same
that's what it is. Same thing. Yeah.
All right, pretty cool. That's good to hear that you're going to make a run for the championship, and
give it a shot.
I hope that you guys will be on the podium in Nashville or even in the championship, hoisting the trophy.
We're hoping, that's what we do it for. But it's a tall order, though. I'd say the level of competition is high, and it seems like it's higher every day. Someone new shows up, and had a young kid show up at VIR this year. Never sat in a TA2 car, never went to VIR. broke the track record by a second and a half. You know, you're like, where did that kid come from? You know, I don't know where he came from. He needs to go home.
At least it's not like Russ Wheeler from Days of Thunder.
I know, right? That's for sure. So.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool to see Boris Said and Robbie Gordon race in Nashville too, because when I was following NASCAR, they were some drivers that I had wanted to see action for on the track, and I wasn't able to because they only raced the road races and Robbie wasn't in the sport, but it was good to finally see them in action in Nashville.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's Boris. He's at most of the Trans Am races. He's still fast.
I saw him in the 79 car in Nashville, and I think he finished in the top 10.
Yeah, he's still fast.
Definitely. Have you ever interacted with him?
Yeah, he's a good guy. Hard competitor, but good guy.
Yeah, have you ever met Tony Abe too?
I met Tony, yes. So I don't know him very well, but I met him a couple of times.
I remember in Nashville seeing Tony smoking his tires through a turn at one point.
Yeah, he's a tough competitor. There's some good competition at that whole field of that series. I mean, just crazy. It don't matter if you're in the front or in the middle of the back. There's always somebody racing each other in that series.
Yeah,
which makes it exciting, you know.
Yeah, and I think Daniel Suarez was in that race as well.
Yeah, he was.
Our driver.
Yeah. That's Ryan Newman. He drove with us up at Road America. Ty Gibbs. Burton Boys, they run with us some. So you see a lot more people cross over from like the Xfinity series when we go to tracks that NASCAR would typically run at because, you know, they ban testing. Well, Trans Am's not part of NASCAR, so they can run those cars. And the cars are very similar. You know, we run 15-inch tires, 10-inch wide, so it's got a lot of characteristics that an Xfinity car has. So
that's pretty cool. Can't wait to see what the next year will be like. Just a quick second. Someone's calling me. Hey man, I can't talk right now. I'm in an interview. Can I have 10 minutes? Yeah. See you in 10 minutes. Sorry about that. That's my longtime mentor, Hollywood actor Andy McPhee.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was in Sons of Anarchy and a few other film credits.
That's cool. How do you know him?
I met him through a connection of mine in my hometown of Estes Park.
Oh, you're from Estes Park?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful place. I stayed at the Stanley there before.
Oh, you've been there?
Yeah, I stayed at the Stanley.
Do you hear the tales on ghosts that are there?
Oh, yeah, the tales. And every time they turn the television on, the movie's on. And it was pretty fun. Beautiful area, though. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. But anyway, we're just getting to the conclusion of our interview right now, so we'll resume.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool that there's so much competition in the Trans Am series, and I hope to see you hoist the championship trophy next year.
I hope so. Thanks for the good wishes. I hope that we can get in there and be competitive with those guys.
Yeah, sounds good. So, I wish you luck in next year, and that's all I have for now.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Everybody, check out Bruce Raymond at this link right here, and we'll see you next week for the next episode from Stories from Motorsports.